10 or 15 minutes into this presentation, you're going to move into describing the benefits. Okay? Now, let me talk to you about describing the benefits. There are two things that we need to help or educate them on during the process of the second step. The first thing is we need to share with them our function, but more importantly to them, and the thing that sells, is how those functions are going to benefit them. I've heard it said, there's an article I read not too long ago that said, sell the sizzle, not the steak. Okay? Do they do that on television? Do benefits sell? Yes. And if you dissect every commercial on television, a well-done commercial, you will see that they are not selling a product typically, but they're selling something about that product that you'll get benefit from. Okay? They might have a sports car and it's turning the corners and the person inside is just mesmerized by this fun that they're having. What are they selling? They're not selling the sports car. They're selling the feeling of taking those curves and enjoying that down the beautiful canyon road and the peace of mind that that person's feeling. They're doing, if you look at a television ad for food, what do? They sell the ease of making it, the convenience of making it, or they sell the look of it or something that will draw you in because there's a benefit associated with that. So you need to learn to sell the sizzle, not the steak. In other words, let's list the functions that we deal with, okay? What do we as accountants perform as a function? Well, we help with the taxes, don't we? Okay? That's one of the functions we perform, okay? That's boring for them. That's not exciting for them. That's just another piece of paperwork, okay? That's not going to sell them the fact that we work with taxes. We do data entry, okay? Anybody can do data entry, they think, you know? So that's not going to do it. And we do bank reconciliations, we prepare reports. All those things are functions that we do. And most accountants, that's what they emphasize when they're talking with prospective clients. And when they walk out of there without the client, they wonder, what did I do wrong? Okay? What's missing here? Why was I not successful? There must not be a market out there because no one's taking me seriously. Okay? The reason why is because they sold the functions. They didn't sell the benefits. And what are the benefits? And if you look at those functions that we perform, but then you consider the benefits, you find out there's a lot of great reasons for someone to hire us and why we can do it and others can't. Okay? I mean, income tax preparation, that's the function. What's the benefit? What's the benefit that we can offer? What do they want to accomplish? Lower taxes. That's what they're trying to accomplish, is getting lower taxes. So what are we going to emphasize? For preparation or lower taxes? Lower taxes. Now, how do we do that? Do we help with that? A lot of you don't do tax preparation. That's all right. So you just associate with someone that does, right? And your role is to prepare financial reports and take it in towards the end of the year to this associate and say, okay, now if this taxpayer were sitting here with us today, and we're in this financial position, which they are, what would your recommendations be to them? Then take good notes, okay? Next time you meet with that client, take those notes with you. Say, I met with my associate this week, got some ideas on some things that will lower your taxes, and just go through them with them. Now, how do you think the client feels about you as a consultant at that time? You think they're impressed? You bet they are. And that's what they're looking for, is that type of help and assistance. They're not impressed by someone that can prepare the forms. They're impressed by someone that can help them reduce their taxes. And you've done that. Okay? What else are they looking for? You think people love peace of mind? Do you want peace of mind? Don't we all want peace of mind? Okay? And you feel it. Sometimes it's rather fleeting in our lives, but you've experienced peace of mind. Business owners want to experience peace of mind. And one of the things that destroys peace of mind faster than anything else is not knowing where they stand financially, not having any idea. I mean, when I got out of college, my wife and I took out some loans because we wanted to have everything we'd had with mom and dad, right away. Got into debt, that was a lot of consternation on my part, and being an accountant, I just really hated to be in debt like that, and my wife could tell it was taking me down. So we sat down one Sunday afternoon and made a plan of how to get out of debt. Now, I was no more out of debt after we made that plan than I was before, but I had an idea. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's the peace of mind that we're seeking. Now, business owners get lost in this jungle of money and transactions to the point they really don't have any idea where they stand financially. They don't know if they're going to be able to pay the bills later. They know payroll's coming up, and they're just kind of doing this. I hope I'm going to have money come payroll time. They're showing up at 8:30 and leaving at 5:30 just like everybody else. And they're not really managing their business. They're just showing up. They're just doing the work. Yet you come in and you show them financially where they stand. You talk to them, consult with them about where they need to be, and you help them develop a plan. I'll give you an idea, for instance. Remember we talked about the current ratio? What should every company's current ratio be? 2 to 1, right? Every company should have a current ratio of 2 to 1. Yet most companies don't. Now, if you find that that company's got a current ratio of 1 to 1, what's going to be your recommendation to that company? Where are you going to tell them to? What are you going to tell them to start working on? Improving their current asset position, reducing their current liability position, right? So what could you do? Could you look down at each current asset account and each current liability account and figure out what can we do to either raise one or lower the other? Correct? And you just develop a plan. You look at that. Now, when you share that plan with a prospective client and you say, here's a goal, here's an objective, here's a way we can get stronger, how do you think that they feel towards you? Okay? That they feel like they're putting their money in the right place, right? So you want to emphasize the fact that you are going to help them get in control of their business to give them greater peace of mind, okay? Now, another thing we need to talk about, and that is better management controls, okay? And that's the third benefit. Now, the benefit is actually higher profitability, okay? Management controls gives them higher profitability by putting them in charge of their business, okay? Now, there's 2 ways that they have greater profitability. One is by giving them information that can enable them to improve on what's going right or reduce or eliminate or correct what's going wrong. Common example is advertising expense. Can you throw away a lot of money on advertising that's ineffective? And you know there's a lot of business owners that don't know that. All they know is they might have a Yellow Pages ad. They don't know if it's working or not, but they may be spending $3,000 or $4,000 a year on that Yellow Pages ad just hoping it's doing some good. You might be able to look at it and say, you know, that Yellow Pages ad isn't doing what you really need it to. In fact, it may be losing them money. They could be looking at different types of advertising programs and seeing, are my sales responding to that advertising or not? You might look at different types of ways to reduce their expense or improve their sales. Now, did we talk about that in class? Do you remember that? We went through that last week. We discussed the ways to analyze the business and look for ways to improve their profits. So follow that process. Let them know that you're going to follow that process to show them that you have the ability to help them become more profitable. So that's one way you're going to help them become more profitable. The second way is, if you're not doing the accounting, who is? All too often, it's the business owner, right? And whenever you hear a business owner say, oh, I do it myself. Oh, opportunity is golden when you hear that, okay? When you hear someone say, I'm doing it myself, I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, it is their least favorite thing that they do. It is procrastinated on significantly, and to make matters worse, they probably don't know what they're doing, okay? And so your purpose is to get them out of the accounting seat so that they can go out and do the work that is making them money. Now, I told you yesterday about my second client was a landscaper. I told you he was doing the books himself. You know, when he does accounting, he does it this way. You ever seen someone use their keypad this way on the computer? You know, and they're just moving around and they're using one finger. How fast do you think he was? Okay? Now, you got to understand, Jim earned about $60 to $70 per hour whenever he had a shovel in his hand. Okay? 60, and he could make a shovel sing. Not really sing, but it could make it work, okay? And he knew how to dig beautiful holes, and he knew how to install a landscaping system in a fraction of the time it would have taken me to put in sprinkler systems and landscaping and all those things. He could do that very efficiently because he understood what he was doing. And then in the evenings, when he just flat didn't have anything else to do and couldn't come up with any other excuse, he would sit down at the computer and enter the data into the computer, okay? He was dead tired, he was doing it wrong, and he was doing it slowly. Perfect opportunity for any one of you, okay? Because there's an opportunity cost that Jim is paying. And I don't know if you've heard that term, opportunity cost, but Jim could either be sitting at this computer doing something he really doesn't know anything about and doesn't like doing, or he could be out digging holes. Now, which one should Jim be doing? Certainly not sitting at the computer, right? I mean, either digging holes or going to a movie or taking the family out or doing something that he enjoys doing, not sitting at the computer. And so our role is to help them profitably, not only by showing them techniques and ideas that will improve the net income of the business, but also getting them to do what they do best and letting us do what we do best. And the opportunity cost that they're paying is much more than they would pay us for our fee. And if we can point that out, we've described the benefits. Okay, so let's go through those real quickly. The first thing is to reduce their taxes. Okay? Our purpose is to help them lower their taxes. Is there anybody here that would not like your taxes lowered if you could do it legally? I think all of it. I mean, I don't think, if there's anyone here that likes paying taxes and would love to pay more taxes on the same amount of income, well, you probably need to see an analyst or something, okay? We all want to reduce our taxes where we can honestly and fairly, okay? So our purpose is to help them reduce those taxes where the government allows us to do that. Secondly is to provide greater peace of mind by helping them be on top of their business, understanding their financial position, what they need to do, helping them set plans to improve their position financially. That's our role there. And the third thing is to improve their profitability, give them greater profits. And it is not unusual, in fact, it's very common for you through your consultation and understanding, be able to improve their profits more than what they're paying you. Now, one other point I want you to understand. People look at, it's not unusual for a small business owner to pay thousands of dollars for their tax return at the end of the year. Okay? It's just not unusual. Why? Because the tax preparer does all the accounting work for the whole year and has to be paid for that. And typically they have some shortcuts they can take, and oftentimes, unfortunately, they really don't. They're not accountants, so they make a lot of mistakes when they do it. But the taxpayer doesn't know that. The taxpayer simply reports to the tax preparer's office. The tax preparer goes through the forms and says, this is the damages down here at the bottom. This is what you've got to pay. And so the taxpayer writes out a check and sends it out with the forms. Once a year, that happens. Now you come into them and you say, I'm going to do accounting for you and I'm going to charge you $300 a month or $200 or $100, whatever that cost is. That's how much I'm going to charge you. They're saying, geez, I pay the tax preparer $3,000 and then I'm going to have to pay you $300 a month. Do you understand that there is a problem with that logic? If you do the financial statements, and they take the financial statements into the tax preparer at the end of the year, is that tax preparer still going to charge them thousands of dollars? No, it may be $150. So they're paying you to give them monthly input and consulting help and support that will improve their business, and they're going to pay the tax preparer a lot less at the end of the year. So it may cost them even less just in the taxes alone to have you doing it. Plus, you're going to give them a full set of complete and accurate financial statements, so that the tax preparer can utilize that information and see the full picture. Okay? So it might not cost them any more to have you do the books than they're now paying to have the tax preparer do the taxes at the end of the year. Okay? So it's not going to improve, it's not going to hurt their profitability. The good thing about it is that it's probably going to improve their profitability because of all your ideas. Okay? Okay, so the second step is, once we have learned about their business, step number one, we've listened. Now we're going to describe the benefits. We're going to tell them, this is what we can do for you. We're going to reduce your taxes. We're going to give you a greater peace of mind and understanding your business and improve your profitability. Now, the next thing, what do you think the next natural question is? How much? Okay?